Well, hello everyone, and welcome back to Adrian's Digital Basement. It's Wednesday, so you know what time it is. It's time for another midweek mini mail call. And this time we're on episode number 33, which is amazing, as I've said many times before. So anyhow, without further ado, let's get right to it. I'd like to give a quick update on the Mac IIsi machine that I worked on in Mail Call episode 31. Turns out that the ROMs were dead as we know, but I had the Mac Color Classic motherboard for the Color Classic and it uses the same ROM chips. So I decided to do some testing to figure out what settings in my EPROM programmer I needed to get the ROMs working in the Color Classic. Through trial and error, I figured out that I need to have it set for 32-bit width, but also odd even byte swap set to yes. And that creates ROM chips that when you put them into the Color Classic motherboard in the Color Classic, it actually boots the machine. Unfortunately, I didn't record any audio, but I was pretty excited when the machine actually powered on with those burned chips installed. Now, unfortunately, when I tried this same thing with the LC3 ROMs in the LC3 motherboard, it did not result in a working machine. This machine definitely still needs a recap, so it may work after that, but at least I know I have working ROMs. I'll revisit this more in the future. All right, so we have a box here, and yep, it's an Amazon Prime box, but this actually comes from Germany, and it says it's from Thorsten in Deutschland. So yes, hi to all my German viewers. Funny how, oh yeah, it's got English and German on the original Amazon tape on here. All right, so let's see what he has sent me. I see some candy. Oh, and it's the delicious German stuff. Okay, there's a note. Oh, he has just spoiled me. He has spoiled me. Oh, look at this. Look at this. A pile of Haribo. He says, "Hi, Adrian. You said the other day on Twitter that you're almost out of supplies in terms of the milk baron. Milk, is that milk bear? And that you can't get them in the US. I can't see you suffering. So let me try to help you out. Today I'm sending you 5 bags. I hope this brings you through the winter, sort of. Keep up the good work. I really enjoy your video. All the best from Cologne, Germany. Torsten, aka Datort on YouTube/Twitter. Wow, yeah, you have 5 bags. So yeah, I mean, maybe you can find this stuff sometimes in the US. Actually, to all my US viewers, have you seen this stuff in the US here before? Because I look at the supermarkets and the stores here and I don't see this. Maybe I need to go to like Cost Plus, World Market. Maybe they have it. I am curious now. But they definitely do not sell this at the regular supermarket. And yeah, I don't know. At first, I wasn't totally in love with this stuff. But now I really, really like the Milk Baron. Oh yeah, that is really good. Thank you very much, Torsten, for sending that in. I will ration this. I will eat it sparingly. I have plenty of other Haribo still from previous mail calls. I don't have any of this though, so I'll eat this little by little. But I do love these, so I really appreciate you sending this in. Thank you very much. It's heartwarming and wonderful, and a great gift for Christmas. So thank you again. All right, we have a package here. This one comes from Jeffrey in Cedar Falls, Iowa. Hi to all my viewers in Iowa. That is one of the US states I have never been to, unfortunately. One day I hope to get to all 50 states. There's still a good number of them that I haven't been to. Okay, we have a note. And he has nicely individually wrapped a whole bunch of interesting things in here. These look like computer parts of some kind, which is awesome. Okay, let's check out the note. He says, "To Adrian, I found your channel through people like Jan Beta, an 8-bit guy, and I love your content. As a kid, I grew up with Windows, but my primary school had iMacs in the computer lab up until around 2005, when they transitioned all the computers to Mac OS X. After seeing the mail call where you repaired that Mac IIsi, I remembered that my family had a couple Mac IIsis in the house which my mother had gotten from her old workplace, where she did janitorial work up until she left in the mid-2000s. Unfortunately, the computers have seen better days, the case is being severely yellowed, like the one you repaired, and the power supply is having some corrosion, like yours did in the video. So I guess leaky caps, because mine had leaky caps in the power supply, must have been a really common thing. And yeah, that leaks out and it totally destroys everything. The motherboard's being subject to capacitor plague of the late 80s and 90s. One of the batteries had leaked and fallen off the board. Before I sent the computers off to e-waste, though, I thought it'd be a good idea to retrieve some parts that I thought you could better use. So he has sent along here. Well, let's open this stuff up instead of me reading through this, and we'll see what he sent here. Yeah, start over here on the right side. All right, so it appears here, very cool actually. So we have a Mac IIsi NuBus card adapter. So I had one of these in my machine as well, but this allowed you to plug this into the PDS slot in the IIsi, and then you could plug in a regular NuBus card. And in this slot, we have a network card. And this is great because NuBus network cards are very useful. And this one has 10 base T, also coax and AUI, so it's got all three types. And that's awesome. And it looks like this NuBus adapter also has a Mathco processor on it. All right, and in here we have another NuBus adapter with the Mathco processor. I can see it right there. And we have a video card of some type. Oh, this is a strange one too. And it says Apple computer. So this is an Apple video card. It's got the 13W3 connector on it, which requires a special adapter because that was primarily used on workstation class machines. But an Apple, wow, this must have come out of like a Mac II or something, like one of the really early computers. Has room for RAM that's not on there. Let's see what's in this one here. Alrighty, I see we have a quantum hard drive. Excellent, SCSI drive. We'll see if that works or not. SCSI drives, you know, the old ones are pretty noisy. And the SCSI to SD adapters, I love using those, but they are kind of pricey. They're like 65 bucks each or something like that. So, you know, I have a couple of those, including one that a viewer sent in. But I do install regular hard drives into these old machines that I fix up. And yeah, some of the computers that come through the lab here, I work on them, I fix them up, and then I give them away. And if I'm gonna give it to someone, it's helpful to have a hard drive in there because I have the tools and accessories to boot up these machines from the SCSI to SD or zip drives, things like that, but not everyone has that. So a working hard drive is actually very useful to people. And yeah, we have a regular Macintosh 1.44 meg floppy drive. Oh, there's one more thing right here. I almost missed this. Sweet, okay, yeah, so Jeff sent along SCSI cable, I'm sorry, floppy drive cable, SCSI cable, power cable that came from one of the Mac IIsi's, or 2SI's, and some 30-pin RAM. So we all know when I get RAM, gotta bring out Rammy. Rammy just loves his 30-pin memory. In fact, even though Christmas is past at this point, I, of course, still have the memory tree out here, and a lot of my 30-pin memory that I had in the boxes was populated on this tree. So these look like 1 megabyte sticks here, which I do have quite a bit of, but you know, it's good because like I said, I will populate these in the machines that I get in the lab and then I give away or whatever to people. So it's nice to have at least the maximum amount of memory that they can run with the common memory, which is the 1 meg stuff. So yes, this is mostly full of 1 meg, 256, and a little bit of 72-pin memory on the memory tree. All right then, so let's take a look at the stuff that Jeff sent on the bench. Macintosh IIsi Parts from Jeff. So what's interesting is after opening these up, I noticed that clearly the battery must have exploded on this machine. He mentioned that they weren't in great shape, but I think things are a little bit worse actually than that. And this right here is a little bit of what I'm talking about. That is what you get when a battery explodes in proximity to things. Now, unfortunately, taking a look at the connector in here, hopefully the camera's focusing, there are corroded pins as well. So unfortunately, I think this particular NuBus adapter is not going to be good. Let me try to get this video card off of here. Okay, there we go. So taking a look at the adapter itself, it actually seems okay. There's the Mathco processor. And there's a little bit of corrosion here and there on it. I can see, like on this screw right here, it's a little rusty looking. That's indicative of what has happened to this thing. This Apple video card, though, on first glance, looks totally fine. So there's the RAM with extra sockets. The NuBus connector there looks fine. Yeah, this card looks good. So this will be good for testing. We have some 30-pin memory here, which all seems... Oh no, that one doesn't look so great. 3 of these look fine. Zooming up there, that particular memory module, you see the green crust on there? So that one's not doing so great. This other NuBus card adapter here actually is in much better shape, although check out that crystal oscillator there. It's got some crust on there, a little rusty, but inside the connector, everything looks fine. And this network card, which has 10 base T on it, and it looks like an Asenta card. That card looks good. Excellent. Then we have a quantum hard drive here. It is in a bracket. All looks okay with this, so this may work well. That's excellent. We have a little short SCSI cable. That's probably fine. Floppy cable, that's obviously going to be okay probably, and a little power cable. And then we have this, which is the floppy drive. And I don't think all is well. Take a look at that. You see this here? That is some rust action from the battery that exploded. Same on the bottom. Some rust is forming right here on this metal bracket. Removing this from the tray reveals a very dirty drive. But you know what? This drive might actually work totally fine. I think I have a spare, this top slidey mechanism. I think I have one off a different drive. And the rest of this, even though there's that rust here, I'd say the components all look good. So this may work. Ooh, there is rust starting to form on the inside of this. All right, so I gave this drive a little bit of a cleaning, a little bit of a service. I actually used dead part drive parts to replace this top ejector piece and the bottom slidey plate. I don't know what those are actually called, because they were both sort of rusty. And now, when I put the disc in here, it works very nicely. There was a lot of grime and gunk, so I cleaned that out. Now, I do have a video about servicing these Apple disk drives. They're all basically the same. I'll put a link in the description to that. So I'm not really going to talk much about it here, but this little eject motor definitely needs to be cleaned out inside. It probably has a stripped gear, maybe not. But I'll put this back on and I'll test this drive. It was really, really grimy, so hopefully it works. Whoa, the power just flickered. That was interesting. But it stayed on, so I guess I'll continue filming. And yeah, so let's see if this thing works and these other parts. Oh, the lights are flickering some more. Fingers are crossed that the power will stay on. All right, so this is the Mac IIsi from that previous mail call video. Or was it a mail call video? I can't really remember, to be honest. I did recap the motherboard with a hodgepodge of caps, fixed the power supply, which had some leaky caps, and this thing does work. It's a little stripped out right now, which is actually perfect because, for instance, here's the hard drive. And I can just pop this right into here. And actually, this power cable I was using was from some other Mac. So this is the one for the IIsi. So it's perfect. So put back into here. Let's plug this hard drive cable back in. These all fit really nicely because, of course, that's what they're from this machine. Floppy cable here. Now, looks like there's a floppy drive in here. There actually is not. See, that's empty. So I'm just going to pop this here just for testing purposes, not actually put it in the mounting bracket quite yet. All right, let's see if this thing powers up with this weird assortment of RAM. We should hear the unhappy Mac tone if it doesn't like it. Okay, I just turned it off and on and then it made the bong. This hard drive is not working though. It is not working, not even spinning. I hear it trying. It's trying to spin. Come on. Let's hit it. Making weird noises. That is a hard drive that no longer works. Yeah. That's a very, very unhappy hard drive. We're gonna have to crack that open and take a look inside to see exactly what's happened. All right, we'll set this aside for now. I turned the computer off. Time to crack open this quantum hard drive. Let's take a look at what exactly is wrong inside. How did it get to have a hard drive crash? It sounds horrible when it runs. I'll be very curious. It doesn't look physically like it's been impacted. There it is. There's the drive. And I see the problem immediately. This drive is trashed. So you see the problem there? The read-write head is stuck to the disk. I wonder how that happened. Maybe just wherever this thing was stored, cold, hot weather, and it got stuck. In case anyone's not seeing it, there it is right there. That's the read-write head. That is supposed to be attached to this arm here. It's not supposed to be stuck on the disk. So look at this clear, it ground this spot down, and I don't know why there's a shiny spot here too. So this whole drive is just effed, completely effed. All right, well the computer came up, which is good, so it still works. This is just a random floppy disk. Let's pop this in the disk drive, see if it tries to read it or tries to boot or does something. All right, so it says bad disk, which is correct. It's not actually a Macintosh disk. The eject motor is not hooked up, so it's gonna try to eject the disk, which obviously it can't do. I'm actually just gonna pop open the eject motor here, take a look inside, see what it looks like. There's what I would call dirt and hair inside this. Okay, so the little yellow gear there was the eject gear, and it does appear to be intact. So I'm just going to give this a little clean inside and put this back together, and maybe it'll actually eject the disk. All right, so I've turned the computer off. I'm gonna reconnect this eject motor here. I just wanna make sure that the motor is spinning, everything is working correctly. So there it is, it's spinning normally, and it should stop when you turn it here, and it should start again. This is working normally. So I'm just gonna pop this gear back on. Now you cannot operate this without this little gearbox cover on, and that's because it kind of holds the gears in place. So we just need to pop this down and on. There we go. Okay, so theoretically now, when this tries to eject the floppy disk, when I turn the computer on, this should go a full cycle. We should hear, do its little meow thing. Just make sure it's not shorting on the power supply. Actually, one thing that's really good is the head seeking is normal, and I did lubricate that and everything. Here we go, should do it. Okay, so the gear's not stripped, meaning if I reinstall this on here, theoretically it should eject the disk. So to reinstall this, I just eject the disk manually, and I get this down right there like so. And I just reinstall the two screws that hold the little motor on. Now, don't over tighten these. I think I mentioned this in my servicing video. Just put them on enough so it stays in place, that's all, just like that. Now when I pop this Global Fax disk in there, it should try to read it and then eject. I haven't even tried booting an actual working disk off here. This disk, the drive may be bad. All right, it's ready to go. Let's pop this disk in. It's gonna realize it's no good, and then, oh, look at that. It didn't strip. Now it's only a matter of time before that gear goes strip, 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 and you'll hear the horrible noise. It will happen, it definitely will. But let's listen. There we go. Because I've lubricated everything, the whole mechanism really smooth right now. It's minimal stress, well, less stress on that gear. But okay, let me pop a real disc in here. Actually, I'm gonna pop my cleaning disc in here. Now I did clean the heads manually, but I'm gonna use this cleaning disc here just to make sure that minimal amount of crap, so to speak, will be touching my good discs. There we go. So here is Mac OS 7.1 disk tools. Now this should boot this machine. Let's take a look. This drive could be totally dead. Oh, that doesn't sound good. Oh no, it's working. Happy Mac. Happy Mac. Okay, maybe not. Maybe not. All right, here's my Apple, oh, wait, no, it's a uni drive. Looks like it came from a 2GS or something, but it actually has a 1.44 megabyte drive in here. So this can boot these Macs, and of course it can read high density disks. Yeah, there's really nothing to these external drives, and you can swap the mechanism out with a high density one, which is perfect for testing. And this drive still works perfectly on the 2GS. It does not read the high density disks on the 2GS, but it's good for me testing this disk here to see if this disk drive is bad or the disk is bad, because we all know that floppy disks do fail, and I have had that happen a lot. Oh, hey, that was not happy. Oh, there's actually a disk in there, and it did not like it. So time for the good old paper clip to get this disk out of here. Yeah. Macintosh system 3.2. That's definitely not compatible with this Macintosh. All right, now we're booting 7.1, and let's see if this works. Okay, yeah, this is working fine. So my disk is not bad. The drive is bad, which is disappointing because it was trying to read, and I did try to clean the heads as much as possible. Darn it. All right, so we successfully booted up into the OS. I'm gonna take this 400K disk and I'm gonna stick it in here. The bottom head is nice and clean because I can see it. I wanna see if I can read this single-sided disk here. It does not appear to be able to read this disk either. Oh wow, it actually did read this disk. So fascinating that it was able to read the single-sided disc. Let me just pop this in again. So I'm wondering if it's like the top head that's just dirty. So the 400K disc worked. Here's an 800K disc. Let's see if it can read this one. It's iOmega Tools. It's double-sided though, so if that top head is broken or dirty, and it does not read it. All right, well, I think it's time for one of these. This is, what are these called? Sent in by a viewer from the UK, and a way to clean double-sided heads, for instance, more easily. So I know this is unorthodox, but things are very grimy, so I'm actually putting a little bit of Windex on this thing. Windex, not just alcohol, but Windex. Sometimes I find the soap, the little bit of soap in Windex really helps clean things. So I'll just blow it out when I'm done. I gave it a little bit of air to blow it out. I'm just gonna put a little bit of alcohol on this cleaning disc again, and we're gonna stick this in here just to kind of clean it once and for all. Spin. Okay. All right, let's try this 800K disc again. I'm not really holding out hope. It's probably not gonna work. I think, yeah, it's unhappy. It worked, wait a second, it worked! Okay, I can't even believe it. All right, now it seemed to read that iOmega disc. Let's try to boot off this disc. So really, it could have just been grimy, and a little Windex got that top head clean. Let's see what happens if I pop this disc in here. Is it gonna boot? Oh no, it tried and then failed. So from past experience, I know I could just fiddle with this thing kind of forever to try to get it working, and it's not easy. Disk drives are delicate, right? There's like lots of little fiddly pieces in them and everything. Okay, so now it's booting. All I did is I kind of just bent the top head a little bit. So the head is only lifted by this side over here. And I think over time it can actually bend the copper spring right there. So the disc, the head is, you know, slightly tilted over to one side. So I just kind of bent it back. It didn't look like it was bent that way, but the proof is in the pudding. It's booting the computer right now. So my advice is if you have a Mac or an Apple II and you have these 3.5-inch drives, store them turned off with a disk in the drive. And that's because originally they are transported with a yellow safety disk, but a floppy disk works fine too. And that way the head is not being held up only on one side and it's down all the way. The spring is exerting even pressure. It's not being held at one side. So yeah, the machine booted. It booted off this drive. So this drive actually works. And I've zoomed up here. You can see how the head is only held up on one side. So it actually is bent over one direction a little bit. So just sort of bending it back like this seems to make a difference. And this is a problem on other disk drives too, like the 1571. Anything that has a head on the top, they're often only held up on one side, which over time can exert pressure. So yeah, if you just kind of bend it like this, and that seemed to do the trick. All right, so this is the NuBus adapter that Jeff sent. Let's pop this video card into here and see if this thing is working. All right, so the card is in here. Oh, and I just realized I'm about to plug the monitor into it. Well, it's 13W3, so I can't just connect this Apple adapter. I need to find my Silicon Graphics one. I found my adapter, so for anyone who doesn't know, this is 13W3, and that is what is on this video card right here. So this is typically used for high-resolution displays, like on Silicon Graphics and Sun workstations. Each, these little coax connectors here are the red, green, and blue, and then these pins here are like sense and sync lines and stuff like that. For whatever reason, this is the connector that Apple used on here, which is a bit of a pain, but that's okay. I'm glad I have this adapter. So this takes the VGA connection here. Now, a lot of times these are sync on green. Luckily, my monitor supports that. I think I've talked about that before. Try to turn it on. Okay, there we go. Interesting, because this card was being used in a Mac IIsi, so I would assume it has a picture, but you know what? It just might be that whatever this outputs, my monitor is not compatible with it. Who knows? I guess there's a possibility that this adapter is no good though, so I'm gonna pull this card out and I'll try my other adapter that I know works. Here's the adapter that I was doing testing with before, so I know it's totally good. Let's see what happens. There was no unhappy sound at least. Oh, I got a picture. Oh, out of range. What's that mean? Well, my monitor is simply saying out of range, which is a good sign. It's getting a signal. It's just not happy with it. Weird, this monitor is 1080p and it seems to support everything. All right, well, the card appears to be trying to give an image like that my monitor doesn't support. So the question to my viewers is, what resolution and what kind of monitor does this card need? All right, I just realized, look right here, monochrome video card. So this is probably some kind of very high resolution monochrome signal. And I guess my Asus here, or is this an Acer? Asus or Acer, whatever brand this monitor is not happy with this signal. All right, so I clearly don't have a monitor that can work with this card, so I'm just gonna have to mark this as it seems to work, but no monitor. Set this aside, and then look at why this NuBus adapter wasn't working. So these have one capacitor here that can leak and cause damage. And I'm definitely seeing the blue crusties along the side of this IC here, this bus transceiver, from that leaky cap. Let me just take this cap off. Oh, that just fell off super easily. Ah, yes, and hopefully that comes across. Lots of corrosion there. I don't know what kind of effect that would have if it wasn't working, but it probably powers up these transceiver chips. Could cause an issue there, possibly. I don't know why, but I'm working on this with this metal bracket thing attached. If I just take these screws out, I'll have a little bit of an easier time working on this. Plus I can take a look at what's on the back of this, if there's any corrosion. No, that actually looks not too shabby on the back. So really, I just need to finish cleaning up this capacitor here, and I found one here, a brand new cap. I can install that. It's definitely a good amount of black crud built up on these pads here. So I'm just gonna scratch away at them a little bit. I already cleaned the solder off, but sometimes the black crusties, so I don't know what it's actually called, builds up on here. So just sort of scratch it away. Actually, while I'm at it, I'm gonna put a little bit of IPA on the side of that chip where that green crusty corrosion is, and just use a toothbrush on it. Try to get some of that off of there. It helped a little bit, but it's still not great looking. So this card may have some damage. So now this is recapped, let's try this network card here, see if this actually works in this thing, because it wasn't working before with the video card. Let's check now. All right, so the Mac IIsi is booted. Let's go to Mac TCP on here, and we should see Ethernet if all is working. And we don't. Local talk and PPP. Just to double check, I'm going to reboot the computer using the known good adapter here with that same network card, and let's see what happens. All right, we're back in the system in the other NuBus adapter, the known good one, and look, there it is, Ethernet. So the card is being seen by the OS. I'm just gonna plug an Ethernet cable into this card. Let's see here, okay, that's upside down. The little clip is broken off this cable. There we go, it's in. And there we are, connected to my core switch over Telnet. It's the only thing I have at home that runs Telnet. And it's working. So the card that Jeff sent works great. So unfortunately, both of these NuBus adapters don't work. I didn't try the other one with all the corrosion in the connector because I didn't want to stick that in the motherboard, but this one that's less corroded, even after a new capacitor, still not working. So clearly the corrosion here got to this transceiver chip because it's looking really bad on the side here. So I guess this thing is a lost cause. I'm gonna write bad on here and put it in my bad parts bin for potential later diagnostics. It's definitely beyond the scope of this video, especially because I have a working one here. I don't need a second one. If I didn't have one, maybe it'd be worth me spending a little more time on this. But the fact is I have a working card. This has a math coprocessor that actually is not corroded at all. So this might be something I'm stealing off of here to put onto other things that could use the math coprocessor a little bit more than this machine, since I already have a math coprocessor on this card. So thanks very much, Jeff, for sending in this old stuff. I mean, out of it, this network card works well, and that's good. Has a 10 base T, so that's exciting. And then floppy drive, well, it mostly works. Hopefully I can figure that out in a future time. And maybe I can get some math coprocessors off of these two cards, these two NuBus adapters. Not quite sure about this video card. If anyone has any ideas about it, please put comments in the comment section below. And yes, I'll be sending this hard drive to e-waste, unfortunately. There is nothing to be done with this thing, and I have plenty of magnets already from other old hard drives that I've salvaged. Oh, and there's actually 3 sticks of 4 megs of RAM here, 30 pin, and this is the final one, which is really badly corroded on the back here. So this one is a lost cause, but these 3 are useful because I can pair this with a 4th 4 meg stick and get that working in something, hopefully. So yeah, Jeff, thank you very much. And with that, I'm gonna end this video right here. So I hope you enjoyed it and you know all that stuff. So if you did, you know what to do. And if you didn't, you know what to do, and all the other YouTube stuff. And yeah, that's gonna be it. So thanks for watching. Stay healthy, stay safe, and I'll see you next time. Goodbye.